We're back with lesson 18, lines 411 to 416. Aeneas and the Sibyl are about to get onto the boat, across the Acheron. Indalias animas, quae per iuga longa sedebant, de turbat laxatque foros, simul accipit alveo, ingentaineian, gemvit sub pondere cumba sutilis sed multa cepit rimossa paludem, tandem transfluium incolume suatemque virumque, in formilimo glauca quexponit in ulva. Inde, from there. This verb is deturbat. Charon is the subject, so keep him in mind as the subject. Charon deturbat, disturbs or drives off, the alias animas, the other spirits or the other souls that he had already loaded on this boat. He drives off the other souls. Animus and anima are very closely related. Animus usually refers to the mind, the mental part of the body, and then anima is more the life or the physical part of the body. But their meanings overlap quite a bit. Here we have animas, their spirits, their breath, the breath of life. So from there, he drove off the other souls, the other spirits. And now we have a relative clause that's describing them. Quae, who, that's nominative in the clause, who were sedebant, who were sitting along the yuga longa, along the long bench. A yuga is a yoke. Think of a yoke that harnesses oxen together. But it's anything that's a connecting. It comes from the word jungo, jungere, to join. It's related to that word. And so in this case, any kind of a long connecting piece of wood or something like that is a yuga. And so in this case, it's a bench. We also saw it in a simile about Dido when we were comparing her to Diana, and she was along the yuga, the mountain ridge. So a yuga can also be a mountain ridge. It's from yugum, so this is neuter plural. It's poetic plural. They were sitting along the long benches. Well, I guess there could be more than one bench in this boat. Laxatque foros, and he loosens, your verb, he loosens the foros, the gangways, the entryways to the boat. So one more time on that whole thing. From there, he drives off the other souls who were sitting along the long benches, and he loosens the gangways. Simul accipit alveo ingentem aenean. At the same time, he receives, and that's our verb. I assume this is charon receives, although I suppose the boat could receive him also, but I think it makes most sense to say charon receives. Huge Aeneas. That's the accusative, huge Aeneas, Greek accusative here. He receives huge Aeneas alveo, in the belly, meaning the belly of the boat, alveo. So this is an ablative showing location where. He receives him in the belly of the boat. Gemit sub pondere cumba sutilis, et multa cepit rimossa paludem. The cumba is our subject. The small boat, or the skiff, groans, gemuit, groaned. And cumba actually has two adjectives that are modifying it. Sutilis, which means the sewn together boat. A sutor in Latin is a tailor, one who sews, stitches. And rimosa is going to also modify cumba. And that means the leaky boat. It has remis, cracks in it. So let's put it together here. The sewn together boat groaned sub pondere, under the weight. And that's an ablative with sub. Sub can take the ablative and pondere, under the weight. The boat is groaning under the weight of Aeneas, huge Aeneas. So this is a nice contrast. Imagine this huge warrior with armor and weapons getting into this boat that just has these featherweight animas, breaths in them. This boat is not really made to carry heavy mortals, especially large heroes like Aeneas. The sewn together boat groaned under the weight. And accepit, and it received, and the subject is still the boat, and it, and the leaky boat, you could say, and the leaky boat received multam paludem, much swamp, much marsh, or much swamp. And that really means it received a lot of water, or swampy water. But this is a colorful way of saying it. It received the swamp, instead of just saying it received water. And we call that metonymy, when you use one noun in place of another. Vergil likes to use it all the time. Tandem transfluium incolume svatemque virumque, informit limo glauca quexponit in ulva. Finally. This finally here gives us the idea that it was a long journey. Finally, he, Charon is still the subject, exponit, place them out, literally, place them out, transflumen, across the river, and he placed them out, this is accusative, by the way, with trans. He placed them in columes. Now, I know I didn't have the them there, but I just put it in. What it really refers to is the vatem que virumque, both the prophetess, or seer, and the man. And then these are our direct objects of the verb exponit. They're both accusative. They're both modified by this adjective, incolumes, which is in the plural, because it's modifying both of them. So translate it like this. Finally, he placed out both the prophetess and the man, unharmed, incolumes, across the river. Informi limo, this is ablative of place, on the unformed mud. This is the bank of the river. It's muddy. It's shapeless or messy. On the unformed mud, and on. This is the in, by the way, that goes with this. This in has to be taken with this, and glauca ulua. And onto the gray marsh, or really grass, onto the gray grass. And this is the kind of grass that would grow in a marsh, very thick grass that's growing in wet soil. That's the idea. One more time. Finally, Charon places both the seer and the man unharmed across the river onto the unformed mud and gray grass.